That's crazy. No sweat. We should be live now. Let me check this audio. Test, test, test. Okay, why is it not? Why am I not actually seeing it? Test, test, test. Okay, it's all good. Most High in Christ. Hey, shalom, Natashi. How about you, man?
Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Most High in Christ. Can we good? We rolling. Salaki for the delay. I thought we were live. I don't know why. I must have. I thought I pressed the go live button. I must not have. So Salaki for that.
Kana naman ka.
God. Most High in Christ. Let's clap it up, man. Right into it. Shalom, Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Thumb. All the brothers, Yahweh Shamar, Alathun, Yahweh Shada, all the sisters. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Command and General YAHANNA. You understand? This is the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, the Hebrew class, out here in Durham, North Carolina. I'm priest officer of 1,000 Thabawan, holding it down as usual. Of course, I got my brother, Trooper Akash Carr, with me as well, per usual, and we're gonna get into it for today. It's Salakia. Get into it. Get into understanding this language. If anybody has any questions, of course you can go ahead and ask me. But also too, let me put this out there. If anybody wants to actually join the class, you can ask your questions directly. Do that as well. So here's the link. This is the link to join the class. So like, let me make some quick adjustments here. Adjust this camera. I think that's too wild. All right. So if there's no questions, Akash, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you. You can just unmute yourself if you got any questions, or at any moment I need you to read something or what have you. So with that, we're gonna get right into it. We've been going over some very basic concepts, kind of starting fresh, and we're gonna continue with that. We're gonna do an alphabet review today. Haven't done that in a while. Okay. So this question of what makes a sentence, we're still going to talk about that today. That's what where you basically left off last week. So we're going to do let me see. I want to get that one scripture. Bear with me. Salaki, I'm looking for the scripture in the Apocrypha. Salakia, let me check here. With the woman with her 7 sons. Second Maccabees chapter 7. I'm just looking for the exact part I want. All right, I got it. So, here we go. Perfect. The highlight. All right, I got it. My bad. We're gonna go to Second Maccabees. So we're gonna start today's class with Second Maccabees. We're gonna read verses 8 and 21. All right. Then we're gonna read the prologue to Ecclesiasticus. All right. So Second Maccabees chapter 7. We're gonna read verse 8 and 21. Slide, I see you, Akash. My bad. And then we're gonna read the prologue after that. Then we're gonna get into an alphabet review. Then we're gonna review the pronunciations that we've been learning about based on inflections. and then we're going to get into what constitutes and what makes a sentence. Okay. So, Akash, if you could, Bible Kashah, in the Apocrypha, give me the book of 2nd Maccabees, the 7th chapter and the 8th verse.
Khan and one Khan. This is the second book of Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 8.
Now, before you read it, who remembers what this is talking about, what this chapter is talking about? Are you familiar with the story of the woman and her 7 sons?
Khan and one Khan, I am.
Khan, okay. So that's what that story is, right? It's in the 2nd Maccabees. It's in 2nd Maccabees, the 7th chapter, right?
Khan.
So we know the story, right? So of course, this woman and her 7 sons are compelled by the king at the time we were under the Greeks. They're compelled, you understand, by the king to do what? What was it that they were compelled or they tried to coerce them to do?
Trying to coerce them to eat pork.
Trying to coerce them to eat pork. Right? Now, that sounds to somebody in the world, that sounds like a small thing, right?
Khan.
When they were trying to coerce them to eat pork, what were they really trying to do? On the surface, just here in this world, on this plane, it's the simple level answer is they were trying to get them to eat pork. But what were they really trying to get them to do?
To abandon the laws, precepts, and commandments and reject God.
That's it. They were trying to get them to reject their God. That's what they were trying to get. That's what the king is trying to get them to do. Because the king, I believe it was Antiochus, wanted what? He wanted what the same thing that the oppressor wants now. He wanted one religion, one culture. He wanted everybody to believe in the same thing, worship the same thing, have the same culture. He wanted everybody to wear togas, flip-flops. He wanted everybody to believe in Zeus and Ares and Perseus and all of those things. He wanted everybody to share one culture. He felt that was, that was how it was a good word. That was, a commendable, that was ideal. They felt that it was ideal for us all to believe in the same thing and be what? One people. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Khan.
Right? And so in this process of trying to force this sister and her 7 sons to conform to his religion, he wanted them to reject their religion, right? And one of the tenets of them, when I say their religion, I'm simply saying their belief system as the world calls it. But of course, these were Israelites. They didn't have a religion. Okay? They were Israelites. And so the better word is culture or custom. Right? He wanted them to reject their custom, their culture, their relationship with their God, because he knew that their God was against what? Eating swine, eating pork. So he wanted to force them to do it so they would reject their beliefs. But of course, being strong black, Hispanic, and Native Indian woman as she was, and her sons being raised, in that culture, they refused. So the king proceeds to torture and kill all of them for refusing his commandment, his orders. What we're about to read is 2 parts during this torture scene where they're communicating with each other. They're talking while this is happening. You understand? And we're going to see some of the things that are said while this woman is sitting there watching her sons be tortured and killed to death. Okay? So go ahead and read verse 8, Akash.
Khan and one Khan. 2nd Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 8. But he answered in his own language and said,
Okay, read verse 7 first.
Canaan on Canaan. Second Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 7. So when the first was dead, after this manner,
So the first son is dead. Go ahead.
they brought the second to make him a mocking to make him a mocking stock.
Right. So the first one is dead. Now they bring him the second one to mess with him, to make him a mocking stock. Go ahead.
And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair,
When they had done what?
pulled off the skin of his head with the hair,
Also known as scalping. They scalped him. They cut off, they grabbed him by his hair and cut off his scalp and peeled his scalp off with his hair. Go ahead.
they asked him,
See, now you understand why it says make him a mocking stock. Because this is funny to them. This is a joke. This is entertainment to them. So now they have to begin torturing this man and peeled. You have a damn conniption. You go lose your mind if you got to peel, a piece of your cuticles off of your fingernail. You gotta peel off. You get a little tiny cut or something, and you gotta peel off the skin, and it comes back a little bit too far. It's like torture to you. They peeled his scalp off, and after they peeled his scalp off, then they looked at him and said, "What did they say, Akash? Read on."
Will thou eat?
Now they say now he's in pain because it hurt so bad because it tortured him, and they said, "You gonna eat now?" It's funny to them because they think, what, he gonna fold. Go ahead.
Before thou be punished thoroughly every number of thy body, every member of thy body.
Come, before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body.
Salaki, sir.
It's what? Right. So we done already peeled your scalp off. Are you gonna eat? Because if you don't, we're gonna mess with some more body parts. We're gonna start peeling off some more stuff. We're gonna put you through some more pain. Some more hell, right? That's what they say. They're mocking him, right? Now read the next verse. Now that's where it gets heavy. Go ahead.
Second Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 8. But he answered in his own language.
He did what?
But he answered in his own language.
Now, why is that heavy? Well, finish the verse first, and we'll get to it. We won't spend too much time. Finish it first.
And said, no. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order, as the former did.
Okay, so first things first, before we get to my first question, so it said he said in his own language, he said in his own language, no. So what did he actually say? What did he say?
La.
That's it. That's what he said. In his own language, in the ancient Hebrew, he said, "Oh man, my marker's a little dull." He said, "La ah," which means no. He said, "La ah." Now tell me why that's so heavy. I need you to read my mind a little bit. Why is that so heavy? Remember how we started this particular thing we're talking about. Remember what the book of Second Maccabees, the 7th chapter, is all about.
It was so heavy because him using his own language showed that he is sticking with his language and with his God.
That's it right there. Damn right. That's it. Absolutely right, Akash. That's what he did. He was being defiant against this man who's trying to get him to reject his culture. You're torturing me to get me to become like you. But even in the midst of my pain, I'm going to show you that I'm not like you.
Khan.
I'm not from where you're from. I don't talk how you talk. And there's power in that. There's power in hitting them streets and speaking at camp. There's power in going to class, reading those prayers, and saying, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Qadash, I.S.U.P.K. There's power in using that language. And the oppressor, you know what? Just like that brother who was called a mocking stock, the oppressor looks at you, looks at us, like, what are these niggas talking about? What is this language? I'm not familiar with this language. That's why you'll never hear me speak some nasty Yiddish, some nasty fake Hebrew, because you know what? The oppressor respects that. The oppressor, he's good with that. The oppressor respects it. I don't want it. I know it's not real. If it was real Hebrew, the oppressor would hate it because he's always hated our culture. You understand? And that's what this brother did. So you now drop that. Now go to verse 20.
Second Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 20. But the mother was marvelously above all, and worthy of honorable memories.
Right. We talk about her today. Right. So this mother, she watched all of her sons. I think there was one more left. I think they say the youngest one came after her. But she basically watched all her sons get killed, and they said, but the mother was marvelous above all. She was stronger than all of them. She was the strongest one, man. She was hardcore. She was what we call today One West. She was strong. She didn't, because you know what a mother today would do? If somebody threatens to torture their sons over something as simple as pork, she would say, baby, just take a little bite. It won't hurt you. Baby, just take a little bite. It won't hurt you. You know what I mean? To try to save their lives, because she doesn't believe in the soldier's life. She doesn't believe the life of war and fighting against things. Everything has to be simple and easy and pretty and smooth all the time. And so she will tell you to get on your knees so you can live. What they say, what's that saying? I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Right? But this sister was not like that. She told all of her sons to die manfully. That's in another verse. So it says she was marvelous above all. Read on, Akash.
For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage.
She bared it with a good courage. She was able to handle it. Some people, imagine you losing your child. If you have a child or you lose one child, you know what I'm saying? It's for me to think about. I got a son, and to think about something happening to him is it my mind to even think about that. You know what I'm saying? My one son. Imagine you got 7 sons, and you just watch these 7 sons that you raised, that you gave birth to, for your sister, right? You went through the pain of labor. You held them in your body, each one for 9 months. You know what I'm saying? So what? 9 times 7, what's that? 63? 63 months that you 63 months, which is the equivalent of what? A little over 5 years. That these men lived inside of you. And now you watch that go away in the span of a day. In one day, 5 years of you nursing them that's just in your womb. But then forget about all the years that you actually nursed them, you know what I'm saying, gave them suck and raised them up to be men. And now in one day, it's all done. They're all gone. over something as simple as eating a piece of pork. But guess what? This sister, she wasn't like sisters today. She was what we say in the school. She was heavy. She wasn't light. She was not a light woman. She was heavy. Because it says she bare it with a good courage. Read on.
Because of the hope that she had in the Lord.
That's why she did it. Because she had what?
Hope in the Lord.
Another word?
Faith.
Faith. She had faith in the Lord. And she did the works. Faith without works is dead. She did the work. She didn't eat the pork. Some of you fake Israelites, you went to other fake Israelite groups where they force you to eat pork. Yeah. We know all about it. You're not fooling us. You understand? Now, but this sister right here wasn't having that. Now read on. This is the last part before we get into today's topic.
Yes. 2 Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 21. Yes, she exhorted every one of them in her own language.
In her what?
In her own language.
In her what?
In her own language.
She gave her sons reverence in her own language. She did the same thing. She was rejecting their piece of garbage culture. And in her final moments, embracing her own. You understand? In her own language. You know?
Filled with a courageous spirit and stirred up her womanish thoughts with the manly stomach.
A woman with a manly stomach. Go ahead. That's it.
She said unto them. Shalaki said, let me read the last part again.
John.
And stirred up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach, she said unto them.
Right. Meaning she was very much a woman. But she had a manly stomach. Meaning she had manly courage. She had manly bravery. You know what I'm saying? She had a manly ability to deal with what she was witnessing. Most people, forget women, most people would be super emotional in that moment. You watch your sons not just die, but get tortured to death. Most people would be an emotional wreck. But not this woman, right? And the part is that
if somebody come to them, we said the modem to that.
She spoke in her own language as an act of defiance. And so that's why it's so important. We were going to read the prologue to Ecclesiasticus, but we all know it. We don't got to go to it. But the reason why they did that is because that's where the force is. That's where the strength is. The strength is in our own language. That's why we must go back to it. All right? So, let's go. Let's talk about writing these letters. So, we'll start with actually, we'll do it like this. It's been a while. Bear with me. Salaki, do my notes. If anybody has any questions, of course, just let me know. Just a second. I think I got it. Got it. Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with the ancient, get an understanding of what's called I'm gonna have to change my where's my colors? These are different colors, Salaki. Akash, can you see that?
La, sir. But I'm having some technical difficulties myself. I have to view on my phone, so
I'm gonna increase it. So I'm gonna solo myself. I'll just try to write a little bit larger. Yeah, we're gonna look up a letter form. Akash, could you look up the term letter form for me?
La, sir. I'm using my phone. I can't. My internet is down, so I'm on data.
I got you. I understand. I got you. Switch that one. Oh yeah, I know y'all not gonna be able to see that. Again, bear with me, Salakia. I guess not technical difficulties, but a different type of difficulty. All my markers are kind of, I guess they're just not strong enough. It seems a little better.
Can and one can. Just a little better.
I'm going to get the definition of this word. Letter form, the graphic form of a letter of the alphabet, either as written or in a particular type font. Okay.
I gotta hook up my charger.
The meaning of letter form is the shape of a letter of an alphabet, especially from the standpoint of design or development. So the shape of a letter is the letter form. Understand? Shape of a letter. Akash, you good?
Another one, I had to plug in my power cable.
No sweat, no sweat. So yeah, so the shape of a letter is the letter form. Meaning each one of these letters in the word letter form represents a what? A letter form. There's a way to write an L. There's a way to write an E. There's a way to write a T, and so on. Well, the same is true of Hebrew. And so let's just talk briefly about the way we write ancient Hebrew letters. And while we're doing that, we're also going to discuss, because they're so closely tied together, we're also going to discuss their representative as pictographs, which is what each ancient Hebrew letter is, a pictograph. Because who knows what a pictograph is?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
I'll take a stab at it. It's I guess it's one of the initial form of writing where they use pictures to describe I guess just to write in picture form.
Right, pretty much, right? Where they use a picture to represent a letter or a sound. A pictograph is a pictorial symbol for a word or phrase. Pictographs were used as the earliest known form of writing.
God.
You got to pay attention to the small things, right? Pay attention to the small things. So you get into arguments about, or you won't get into arguments, but people will say, when we say Hebrew's the oldest language, they argue about that. No sweat, right?
God.
What? Understand, it's common knowledge that the earliest forms of writing were what? Were pictographs. And what is ancient Hebrew? What comprises it? What is ancient Hebrew comprised of?
Salaki, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to be switching devices. My internet just came back up.
No sweat. Do you think?
Oh, God.
The ancient Hebrew alphabet is comprised of pictographs. Here's the first one. Notice how I'm writing it. Our first letter is the A, right? And each one, because it's a pictograph, it has, or they're the word for which it represents. Hold up. Most High in Christ, Tuah Akash.
Another one, I'm back. My internet is up, so if I need to find something on the phone, I'm good to go.
Most High in Christ, perfect. So, because it's a pictograph, it has to represent something or some concept, some idea. Unlike English, because who can guess what English letter actually comes from this?
So like I said, it looked like a A laying down, but
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's an A laying down, right? But in English, in A, where does A in English? What is an A supposed to represent?
The first letter in the alphabet.
Right. That's it. But does it represent anything particularly?
La.
Not to my knowledge. But the ah in ancient Hebrew does represent something. It represents the word, the Hebrew word, actually, no, I'm going to do it this way. More clear. Like that, actually. Alap means cow. This symbol, right? This is a crude drawing of a what? Of a bovine animal. All right. It's a crude drawing of cattle. The oldest, we talked about it before, the oldest form of this would have looked like this. Now, of course, I'm not the best artist, but just know that it was something to that effect, where it's supposed to represent the head of a cow or a bull with the horns.
Oh, God.
But as we talked about many times, this is not what? This is not practical. You can't write this when you need to write something quickly and easily. It takes too much time. So we needed a quick way to just demonstrate something with some horns, right? And so we came up with this, and it worked, and it stuck. And that's the ah. Okay. Now, what about the next one? Remember, we're talking letter form. So think that when you're writing it down, think of how you write it. How would you describe, Akash, how would you describe to somebody how to write an ah in ancient Hebrew?
Well, now that I could recognize it's an A laying down, that would be I'll tell them that.
Exactly. You're probably going to tell them you're going to write like a A
laying on its side.
Right? But that's literally what it is. Right? It's not perfect, you know, an A in English might look a few different ways. It might look like this, it might look like this. Right? If you lay this on its side, you know, it's close, but it's not, you know, wouldn't be quite perfect, but the idea would still be the same.
God.
You know, and so you wouldn't be wrong to say it's like a sideways A. Okay, but this is the proper way to write an ah. You're drawing almost like you're drawing like a 90-degree angle, and then a line You know what I'm saying? Right here. Okay. Next. What letter is this?
A ba.
And it comes from what Hebrew word? What does that pictograph or pictogram represent?
Is the ba the hook of the tent?
The ba is the tent itself.
The tent. Oh.
Right. The bottom part of it is the hook. Right. Bayath means house. Why would now if we know that this bottom part represents the hook of a tent, why does it mean house?
I guess in those days that was our houses.
Right. Right. Because the scriptures tell you that Jacob was a plain man who dwelled in what? He dwelled in tents. Right. To us, a house is as simple as just a tent. Right. Now, doesn't mean that your house has to be a tent. It just means that we're simple. We're very simple, content people. A tent worked just fine as a house. Right. What's next? What's next, Akash?
The ga.
Right. What does that represent? I'll give you a hint. It's another animal.
The camel. It's the hump.
That's it. And what's the Hebrew word?
I need to get my notes.
Remember, it has to start with a what?
With a ga.
Right. It's very close to the word we use now to show the relationship between ancient Hebrew and even words that are being used today. Word is gamal.
Gamal.
Mm-hmm. The symbol represents the hump of a camel. So we got Abaga. What's next?
Da.
Da. Right. The da. Write that a little bit better. That's fine. Who remembers what the da represents?
I know that da is the door.
Right. So remember, let me just rehash. The ba, remember we're talking letter form. I got to make sure I, spend some time on it. With the ba, it's like almost like a curve, like a part of a J, but then you're gonna attach like this kind of triangular piece to the top. And this piece underneath, but a lot of these letters, as Trooper Kashkar stated, when you see stuff kind of under like that, it represents somehow something underground. Right? These pictographs again are practical. So this part represents the tent that's above ground. This represents the hook that goes into the ground to keep the tent grounded. Talked about, of course, the ga, the hump of the camel. It's just almost like a it's as if you're like a triangle, but it's like cut off, or a right angle, or 90-degree angle, right? But you start in the middle here, but then you bring it all the way down up here. The ga is best described as basically a triangle. It's like, it's not perfect. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't got to try to perfectly draw a triangle. Sometimes it's gonna be a little bit more rounded. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's still gonna be a da. But that's the general idea with the da, right? And the da you said is the door.
Khan.
That is correct. But what is the Hebrew word?
I don't recall, sir.
The Hebrew word for door. And again, this pictograph is called the door, or the or like the doorway. Because remember, we dwelled in tents. Think of it like a teepee. So if you have a tent or a teepee, right? The door or the doorway is gonna be what? It's gonna be the line going down for the right, for the tent, and then it's gonna. And this is the doorway you walk in.
Khan.
That makes sense?
Khan and one Khan.
So the Hebrew word for this doorway or door is dalath. All right, what's next?
Ha.
Ha is from the Hebrew word. This symbol is a hand. One second. One second. Looking for that. Okay. This is an old school joint right here to show you. No, that's not on this one, but that's no sweat. Let me show you some of the other ones. But the ha is from Hana. So this symbol, which is it's almost like a backwards F, but with an extra like line coming out. It's a hand. So think of it like a hand showing you something. Think of it like a hand going, look, right? Behold. And that word is Hana. It's just to behold. Again, it's like saying, look. What's the next letter, Akash?
Wow.
Which is from this symbol. It's from the Hebrew word wow. It means fish hook. We have the za.
Khan.
Another easily identifiable letter. You can see exactly what English letter comes from this. And what is the Hebrew word from which we get za?
Not sure, sir.
No sweat. Who knows what the symbol is? No sweat. The za is from the Hebrew word Zion. which means weapon. What's the next one, Akash?
Cha.
Say it again.
Cha.
Not quite.
Ka.
Right. There you go. It's a little bit more. It's not cha. It's closer to ka, but again, it's just a little bit softer. It takes time. It's more like ka. Ka.
Ka.
It's like the back
Ka.
of your throat pulse.
Ka.
What's the Hebrew word that this comes from?
I know the symbol.
What's the symbol?
The symbol is a fence. I don't remember the Hebrew word.
You're correct. The Hebrew word is kawama. What's next, Akash?
Ta.
What's the Hebrew word?
Not sure.
Remember what it represents?
Is this the top of the tent?
The word is tana'ah. Which means basket.
Oh, basket. Can.
Why is it a basket? Because it represents the overhead view of a basket. If you see a basket, think of a basket. Somebody might be carrying with some stuff in it. You see it from the side, it would look something like. From the side, like you'll see the basket part, and then there'll be things inside of the basket, but you have these handles.
Can.
If you were to see this from the top, overhead view, it looks like this. Okay. What's next?
Yeah.
I'll show y'all a picture.
Slaggy said I couldn't hear you.
Does anybody already know what it is?
Nah.
The word it comes from? I'll give you the word. And if I give you the word, I'm gonna expect you to know what it is. The Hebrew word is yad.
Yard. Slaggy, sir.
Yeah.
Han.
Say it one more time.
Han.
You said Han?
Han. H-A-N-D.
Oh, Salakia. That is correct. It is hand, right? Salakia, let me check my notes. Right, yeah. It absolutely is hand. That's why we say at the end of the class, say what? We say yad yum mata, yad yum, hands, yad yum mata, hands down, right?
Con.
I'm trying to think of another one we say. That's pretty much it. I mean, we use it for other things, but yeah, yad is hand, and that's what that symbol. That's what I wanted to show everybody.
Con. Con and one con.
West drawing. What's next, Akash?
Ka.
What's the Hebrew word? The Hebrew word is kop, and not the kind of cop that wears purple. Right? Which means palm. This symbol, which is like a backwards C with like a sideways V inside of it.
Oh, con and one con. I see it.
What's next, Akash? What's the next letter, Akash?
The La.
The La. Another one we see where English got their letters from. What's the Hebrew word it comes from?
La.
This one is a little more complex. The word is lamad. Which means to So you might be saying, what the hell does an L have to do with learning? You remember, Akash?
La, sir.
No sweat. We're going to get proof. We're going to go to Blue Letter Bible. Hold up. Check it out. Check it out. So this is the Hebrew word right here. See that? Lamad.
Con.
Right? It's a verb, right? Outline of biblical usage: to learn, to teach, exercise in, to learn, to teach, to be taught, to be trained, right? Strong's info. Check it out. And hold up, I think they actually pronounced this one. Let's see.
Strong's H 3925. Lamad.
Oh man. Man, I gotta turn that devil off, man. Don't ever come in my class and say Lamad. I'm gonna be Lamad if you say that dumb crap. It's not Lamad, it's Lamad. You know what I'm saying? So, but check it out. When we go to Strong's info, here's what it says. It says Lamad, a primitive root properly to goad, i.e., by implication, to teach, the rod being an oriental incentive.
Con.
Okay, so let's see what goad means. Goad, provoke or annoy someone so as to stimulate some action or reaction. You follow me?
Con on one con.
So the rod, meaning what? Meaning this shape, this pictograph, you know what it's representing? It's representing almost like a walking stick. Something that an old man uses to walk on. But when he's trying to teach somebody how to do something, what does he do with that stick? WAP.
Hit them with Khan.
Do it again. WAP. That wasn't right. Keep trying. This symbolizes the mechanism that is used to teach, or the idea behind it. Right. So that's why I said this one is a little more complicated.
Khan.
What we got next, Akash?
The Ma.
This is an easy one. Ma is the Hebrew word mayak. Mayum, excuse me, not mayak, mayum, excuse me. Again, top part is like what's above ground or level with the ground. And when you see this whole thing, when you see this, it means that whatever this is has something to do with the ground. So the water, of course, sits in the earth, right? Sea level and all that stuff. That's what the ma means. And next we have what? Na?
The Na. Khan.
The na is from the Hebrew word no one. It means to sprout. Again, this na, like the other ones, has to do with the ground. This word, this letter is representing a seed being put into the ground. What's next, Akash?
Sa.
This is a good one. What's the Hebrew word?
Not sure, sir.
You know what it represents?
The flagpole.
No. Bear with me just one moment.
Khan.
God. So the Hebrew word is samak. which means to establish. Of course, this symbol represents an ancient, like Akashkar said, an ancient flagpole. Ancient flags would just look, they wouldn't look like how flags look today. I always do this horrible drawing, but I'm gonna do it again. Flag today will have like a pole, and then you just have some kind of, you know what I'm saying, flag like blowing in the wind. I know it looks terrible. Yeah, I made it worse. Just imagine a flag blowing in the wind. Okay, that's how flags look today. Back then, flags didn't look like that. Flags were rectangular. They would just be kind of like this. Right? Like I said, it would have, you know what I'm saying, on it, it might say, how, you know what I'm saying? That's how a flag would have looked in ancient days. But what's behind this flag is a skeleton. So this, you see, this the part you see, but what's behind it is this. To support it. All right. So that's the samak.
Time.
What's next?
I.
That should be easy. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's exactly what it looks like. Come on, what do you think it is, Akash?
So it's an eyeball, eh?
Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Ball. So. Next.
Next. Pa.
All right. I'm gonna show you that thing again. The Hebrew word is pa. What does it symbolize? What it looks like a little bit larger.
It's the open mouth, right?
Khan. That's it.
Khan.
Pause. Yeah, it's a mouth. Yep, it is a mouth. Let's see. We can make one up here. What's next?
Tizah.
Tizah. I'll do it down here. Tizah. What is that word? Tizad. Which means side. Oh, and I forgot to show you the other picture. So for the pa, see here we have the water. Get the water. Right, you got the flag.
Con.
I will look for the pa.
Con.
Tizad the side. We have a good one. Wow.
Wow.
Kawash. Which is what? Who knows what Kawash is?
Not sure.
I'll show you. This symbol represents the word is what it means. It means snare. Why is that a snare? Because that symbol is drawn exactly as a pictograph.
Oh,
like
con.
this.
Con and one con. I remember now. Yes, the mouse trap.
Yep. A snare. Then we have what?
The Ra.
Which is Ra'ash. Which means what? You said something, Akash?
La Asa.
No sweat. Ra'ash means head. Metaphorically, it also at times means the beginning of something, because the head is the start. That's why the book of Genesis in Hebrew is actually Ba Ra'ashayath. Or better yet, it starts. Let me be clear. The first word of the book of Genesis is Bara Ashayath, if I'm not mistaken. Right? What's next?
Sha.
And of course, this Ra is representing, it's very crude. It's a crude drawing of a person's head, a man's head, pose from the side, like a they call it not profile. Is it profile? I can't remember. I can never remember which one it is. But here's
Con. That's profile. Con and one con.
see that? The man's profile, and that's Ra'ash.
Con.
There's a pronunciation at the bottom of it. All right. Two more. What you say was next, Akash?
The Shah.
The Shah. What's the word? The Hebrew word is shun. What did that symbol represent?
The W. I didn't remember. Don't recall that one, sir.
Think about it. Look at the symbol.
Yeah, it's a W.
What if I drew it like this?
Oh, it's teeth.
Right. It's a very, very, very crude drawing of teeth. We got one more.
The Tha.
The Tha. What's the Hebrew word? Who remembers?
I remember what the symbol means.
What does it mean?
X mark the spot.
Right. It's a mark. So the Hebrew word is thaw. Right. And this thaw means a mark. One second. It's no sweat. So that's all the symbols, right? So again, with the thaw, again, just like Akash said, just think X marks the spot. It's like metaphoric for like, okay, like I'm marking something. I'm, like almost when you got blueprints or something, and you say, okay, we're gonna start right here, use the X, and you say we're gonna travel here and use the X. This X marks the spot. It's like a mark or to recognize something. Okay. But man, that's it for today. I think we just did a long alphabet review, but it's all good. I always like to refresh my memory with these because I don't get to do it so often. Are there any questions on this? You good, Akash?
I'm good. I'm Tawab.
Oh, thank Christ. All right. So next week we're not gonna spend the whole class talking about the symbols. We're gonna go more practical and start answering some of the questions we had about what constitutes a sentence, forming your own sentences, and so on and so forth. Again, this was just a alphabet review because we haven't done one in a couple weeks, and we took it to the next level. And remember, these are vocabulary words too. Alap, bayath, gamal, dalat. These are real words, so we still get vocabulary. Learn these words. You know what I'm saying? Learn these words. All right. But if If nothing else, Castro got no questions. We're good. We're gonna go ahead and clip it there. So we'll see you everybody next week, same time, same place. I.S.U.P.K. Durham, Lashawan Qadash, 7 p.m. Like I said, if you want to join the class, I put the StreamYard in the link. In the chat on I.S.U.P.K. Durham or Durham Israelites YouTube and Facebook. So if y'all want to join the class, you can just click on the link, and I'll actually be able to see you or hear you, or or whatever the case may be. Of course, you got to be respectful and everything, or you're getting booted. But other than that, we're gonna clip it there. We'll see y'all next week. So that to the brothers, we say shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barak Thumb.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shamar Alathun by Shem Yahweh Shah.